Good morning.
Good morning. Here we are again, sipping our cacao for our Cacao Conversations with Julieta and Graciela.
Graciela. It is chilly here this morning. I know we like to somehow I've ended up opening this show with a weather report every time we talk. So why not keep it going?
Well, weather
Uh
has really been top of the news for a little while now, so
yep, totally. It's still, well, it's not still, it's getting. This has just begun. It was in the 30s, 40s, all 30s last week, 40s today. You all can feel bad for my boyfriend because he just now lost custody of this amazingly delicious flannel that I just threw on. So he did own it right up until this moment. So if you see him, tell him sorry. But I'm cozy now. I feel good. You all right?
choking on a little cayenne over here in my cacao. I made it a little extra spicy this morning, and now I'm paying the price.
There you go.
So
I want you to know I have absolutely turned into a bird lady. So you know how retired people sit outside and watch birds and get to know, and they're like, "Oh, look, it's a blue jay. Oh, look, it's a pileated woodpecker, whatever." Yeah, that's me now. My friend, my friend Stacy Hyde, bless her, she sent me an app. She's also a new mountain woman, and the app identifies birds. So now I sit outside and I record the sounds of birds, and then my app tells me which bird is singing. And my record so far is 5 birds in one recording. I absolutely love it. I told my kids yesterday I'm turning into Snow White. I go outside now. I talk to the birds talk to me. I talk to the trees talk to me. It's getting interesting here.
well, I was going to ask you if you had a book, but you got an app, so it is 2024. But do you have binoculars yet? That is the question.
So what's interesting is that my aunt passed away several years ago, and when a family member passes, people go and they're like, what do you want to take as a memory? And I took like 3 things. And one of them is binoculars. And I was like, I don't know why. I'm just something about it calls me. So yeah, I was able to pull out my aunt's binoculars, and that's what I've been doing, is trying to, follow the sound. Yesterday I heard a tapping on the house itself, and I was like, excuse me, and I opened the door and I'm like, it's a woodpecker pecking at my wood house, and I'm like, sir, you can go to the tree, go peck the tree all you want, but don't peck the house. The house is too expensive. So, but it was really
Yeah, there's
beautiful.
things you have to do for that. I'll put you in contact with my dad. That's been an issue at their house as well. That I forget what is a woodpecker deterrent on the house, but sounds like you
Yeah.
may have that.
I've heard they can be pretty tenacious. So they're everyone around here has a very hot opinion on woodpeckers. So, but I think step 1 is not letting, I guess they're after grubs, so making sure that other insects aren't leaving their babies in your house. So anyway, it's a whole new world. Whole new world.
Oh man.
What's going on in
Yeah.
SoFlo?
So while you're doing like the bird new thing, I did a new thing this weekend.
What'd you do?
I married somebody. I
Wow,
didn't get
that's
married to them.
exciting.
I married a
Right,
couple.
right, right. I
Just
was
for
well,
clarity.
if you decide to get married, please invite me. Well, that's exciting. That's cool.
It was like, it was a friend of mine who during, like that post pandemic, like those of us that like lived alone and we were all kind of like craving contact with other people. And so she was in my business networking group and another woman in the group. The 3 of us like started having regular, we'd meet for dinner. And so at that time, I was in the middle of my online dating adventures. And so, of course, like that would be part of the conversation each time. And so one day she's like, Juliana, because she's a little bit older, she was like, will you help me set up my online dating accounts? And, I geared her towards which one she would probably have better luck with. And so she started her journey, and, we'd share funny stories about the ridiculous dates that we went on. But eventually she met this man, and earlier this year he proposed to her and she said yes. And then, since I was kind of the catalyst for all of that happening, she asked if I would marry them. And
Wow.
so I got ordained, and so I led my first wedding ceremony. And it was like, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous, but it was fun. It was I don't know, like it was an interesting experience, especially like given, me, I'm all like, I've already been married. I don't need to get married again. Like I'm not um it's not a big deal for me. The man in my life, if he came and said it was really important to him, I'd consider it, but like it's not what I'm looking for, and I kind of feel like it's a little bit of like you know the government controlling people, like get married so that we have more control over you. So not really my thing, but it was so beautiful to see, like they like their faces were just like in this like smile that would not get off their face. And um
Totally, totally.
yeah, it was
I
fun.
mean,
So if
whether
anybody else out there listening wants to get married, I'll be happy to marry you.
whether it's secular or religious or government or just symbolic, I think publicly proclaiming your like everlasting love to somebody, like that's a big deal, like just having that experience in front of everybody and that sort of thing. So that's really cool that you got to be a part of that. How amazing.
So, and hilariously, so they we did it outside, just the ceremony. I mean, it was a very small ceremony, like 20 people tops. But of course, the bright line decides to go by in the middle of the ceremony. So, like, pause. And then we get to the end of the ceremony, and we totally forgot the rings because it
Oh,
wasn't written in my ceremony. They never said anything to me that they were exchanging rings. And so I was like, some bloopers. It was fun.
there you go. There you go. I officiated my brother's wedding years ago, and me, I had a journal with everything typed out. I had it in 18-point font so I wouldn't screw it up. Like I had the whole thing written out. But one of the things I did afterwards, as my wedding gift to them, was I had an artist do kind of like the how you there's like the Jewish ketubah, how it's like written out and it's very ornate and things like that. So I had his vows and her vows put in calligraphy on one giant piece. And then the artist took inspiration from their floral arrangements and made like floral, illustrations around the side of it. It was really, really beautiful. I kind of want to get married just for that because I want to have a really cool thing on my wall. So, but yeah, that's really awesome. How exciting. Good for you. I love it. Love it.
So our topic today is, what's your favorite way to practice mindfulness?
Oh, mindfulness, the buzzword of the millennium. So, why don't we start there? Like, what does it mean to be mindful? What does being mindful mean to you?
I guess like for me, it's just being present. Not so easy for us while we're doing one thing to be like our mind will be in 20 other locations. And so for me, it's really about getting present in the moment and whatever it is that you're doing, have your attention there.
Hmm.
How about for you?
Interesting. And yes, of course, I agree. And also, for me, it's shows up like slowing down, if that makes sense. Sometimes I go 1,000 miles an hour, and events or words or things that might be triggering pulls me back to the past, right? Which then, being mindful, pulls me into the present. um but I think for me, also, part of it for me lately, I don't know, maybe it's here because I'm amongst the trees, is a little bit of playfulness, like, don't take everything so serious. Don't, you know leave room for play. And so, I'll tell you a funny story. Yesterday, I told my kids I'm fucking Snow White between the birds and the trees and everything, because I went outside and I was like, okay, let me exercise my voice. Like, let me talk. So, verbally, out loud, I was like, hello, birds, hello, trees. And I'm trying to, like, develop a verbal relationship, if you will. Stay with me, with being outside. So, it's fall, leaves are falling. And so I look up, and my house is surrounded with oaks and God knows what else that I can't even identify. And I say, "Oh, did you want to give me a leaf?" And so I jokingly put my hand out like this, and I see this leaf start falling down, and I'm like, "That's not going to happen." And then it goes and it lands on the roof, and I was like, like, I'm so stupid. Like, I can't believe I thought it was going to land in my hand. It blows off of the roof and literally lands in my hand. And I'm like, "Man, like, this is amazing." I asked for it. I was polite. I said, "Do you want to give me a leaf?" And the leaf literally landed in my hand. Like, how does that even? So for me, mindfulness has been showing up like that, like being really present and kind of acknowledging things that feel like a coincidence as something more than that you know and then, of course, all the traditional, don't yell at my kids for something that happened to me in my childhood type of thing. Working on it all.
um I think that, for me too, like asking like what tools to use. um Breath is definitely like my number one. Like when I need to slow down, connect, it's, taking a few deep breaths and just, um, that's my number one tool for getting me in the moment, getting me connected. I swear my breath saves me all the time.
Well, and for me, since I'm always going so fast, taking a breath literally gives me the pause that I need to let to stop my mouth for a second while my brain catches up, because, like, for me, I want to go and I'm on to the next, and here's the thing about that, and let's move on, and da 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 da. So literally taking a deep breath just gives everything time to slow down, for sure.
I would think, though, do you find now that you are out of the city and out in the country, is it easier for you to slow down in the environment that you're in now?
There's definitely less stimulation visually, and like, all my senses are less bombarded. So I have found that I have slowed down, like when I was telling our friend yesterday about the retreat, and how, me, I have my schedule, and we have our timeline. And then I was like, you know what, I feel called to say something more. And you're like, but are you okay with the time? And I was like, yeah, sure, fine. And you guys are like, who are you the same person that you know was militant about time? And so I find, like, yes, that has become a lot easier. I think also because everything else around me is slower. Literally, the store, the people checking you out, people saying good morning, handyman coming to the house. I have not found one person in a hurry. I have not heard a car horn. Yesterday I stood in line to vote, and there must have been a dozen people in front of me. You would have thought it was like Christmas morning. Like everybody was just relaxed, standing there, polite, and it was just like there isn't that crazy urgency. So yeah, for me, my environment has made a huge difference in just being present.
Well, that's good to hear, because we're not going to lie, we've all been a little nervous if the city girl could really handle moving into the country.
I will tell you that I am far more sane and comfortable and mindful and relaxed here. When I, not to make it about me, but well, I'll bring it back to mindfulness in a second. But when I first moved here, I kept on saying that I'm going to take a sabbatical, and meaning I'm not going to work. But I really saw sabbatical as I'm going to read, and I'm going to catch up on all the things I've been wanting to catch up on. I've been working since I was 14, like, all the books that I have and everything that I've wanted to read and write and all of these things. And I've been here since June. It's now October. And I realized that, some days, honestly, I just sit here. Like I just sit here and look outside, and I sit inside and I sit outside, and I drink cacao and I drink tea and I drink water, and then I go sit outside some more, and then I come back, and I realized I didn't need a sabbatical. I needed a rest. This has been a time of rest. And it's not to say that I'm quitting. It's not to say that, quite the opposite, right? New things are starting for me. But I don't think I would have had the bandwidth to create as much as I want to if I didn't just stop. So for me, I thought multitasking was my superpower because I'm really, really good at it. But I realized what really is my superpower, what really is pushing me forward in life, is resting. It really is. It's been,
I'm into resting.
and when I was living the city life, resting might have meant, a 3-day retreat or a 1-day or even just a 2-hour, networking event with like-minded people, but here having like this extended period of time without that pressure, that's life-changing. I get it now why people run away to, a cave and meditate for 6 months at a time. It works.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I am one who's always been able to appreciate like quiet time, alone time. I've obviously not when you live with someone, but in the past, I've lived alone and literally I would leave work Friday, go home, and not speak to another human being until Monday morning when I went to the office. And people are like, ew, what? Like, why would you do that? And I'm like, because it feels good to just disconnect. And for those introverts out there listening, like that is the definition of an introvert, is someone that needs alone time to recharge their batteries. And so having that, and people are always like, you're not an introvert, and I'm like, yes, I am. I love people, I enjoy people. There's so many things that I'm doing now that's connecting me even more to people. But the more I do that, the more I also need that alone time, that quiet time. And I was laughing when you were talking about like your birds outside. I'm like, I've been doing that for years here. I go in the morning, if the weather is allowing, I go sit on my back patio and drink my cacao and talk with the blue jays and the mockingbirds and the cardinals. And every once in a while, like we'll have an oriole show up, woodpeckers show up. I've had hummingbirds show up. Like there's a lot of wildlife happening in the backyard here. So, I do feel blessed. People are shocked, like how much yard space I have being so close to downtown Fort Lauderdale. But
Prime real estate, get it now. Yeah.
I'm like,
Well, I hear you. I mean, I also think like to acknowledge what's possible. My kids are now 15, and so this is the first time that they're really fairly autonomous, like now not only can they handle themselves, but they're doing things for the family, right? Cooking the meals and carrying more responsibility. And I can't tell you how much more free space that has created in my brain. I mean, when they were little, I literally worried that they were going to kill themselves every day. Like every day was a crazy adventure of, what piece of glass is my son going to try and swallow today? Like, so yeah, I don't think I heard birds for, I heard was children. But coming out of that now and having, like light at the end of the tunnel, moms, you're going to be okay. Now I worry about different things, but at least I don't worry about them dying all the time. Now I can hear the birds. Yeah. It's like life is interesting, So all good, all good. But I would love to hear from what other people and what you guys think. And what does mindfulness mean to you and how does it show up for you in your life? As much as Juliet and I are always teaching and sharing our own experiences, I'm always learning. So I want to hear from others. What are you guys doing? And I will tell you guys something real quick. And I say you guys, meaning my audience, the audience. Someone a couple days ago had a conversation with me and they said that they had watched one of my videos like four times. Like they were so excited about whatever I had shared that they listened to it 4 times. And I was like, oh my God, do you understand like what a piece of gold that is for me? Like, please tell me that you're listening. Tell me that it matters. Tell me that it makes a difference. Tell me that all of our chit-chatty nonsense, at least adds, where are we at? 22 minutes and 15 seconds of joy to your life. Not that I need the validation, right? Like I want to keep putting our messages out there, but it just makes me happy. It makes me happy to know that it makes a difference and, that you guys like to hear it. So give me something, folks. Give me something.
cheers to that. Oh. All right. I don't know if you're still there, Graciela. It feels like we lost you. And but it is about that time to wrap up the show. And oh, now you're back. Sipping that good cacao. But yeah, like she said, give us some love in the comments so that we know that you're listening. And that gives us more motivation to keep this going. I've mentioned a few times to people, like, maybe it's time to give it a rest. And they're always like, no, we love the show. So for now, we'll keep it going. But like we said, show us some love so that we know that you want to hear it. And yes, leave us your mind. Teach us something. Like we're not just the teachers. We're the students here too. So we love to hear from you. I am a forever student. I will always be learning. And
what do we have coming up? What events do we have?
So
we have the what's the word?
The vision board on November 2nd. So that is virtual. So everybody can join us from all over the world if they want to. And like we said, this is more.
We have listeners like in Sweden or something, right? Or Mongolia or something like that. Like, y'all jump in.
Yes, anyone can join us from anywhere. Head over to Body and Soul events.love and you can register for our events there. Locally, I have chakra balancing on next Monday, which it's going to be, I shake them up all the time. And this one, we're actually going to be using sound, specifically our voice, to balance the chakras. And so I'm really looking forward to that and doing something completely new there. Sweat Lodge is at my house. Ooh, this is big too. So Sweat Lodge is this Sunday at my house. And I think I've said before, I am in training to one day lead the ceremonies myself, but this Sunday will be the first Sunday that I will be assisting in leading the ceremony. So
How exciting. That is
it
so
is
cool. I
exciting.
love it.
I'm a little nervous, but very excited as well. And so then Monday's chakra. Tuesday, we have the men's group. Saturday morning is the the vision board, and I think we need to tell them too. It's not just about building the vision board. It's it's about building your vision and then having the tools to create that vision in your life. Because it's not
And
just
doing
you
it
put
nicely.
you put pretty pictures on down on the board and then magic happens. There's a lot of other tools that we're going to share with you that magnify, multiply exponentially the chances that what you're envisioning comes to fruition.
Yeah, I'm really excited to share because I have, I really dove deep with my vision board last year or, this year. And so I was messing with it again in preparation for the class. And I was like, let me make my list of what do I still need to keep on this board and what can I now let go of because I've accomplished it. And so I had like 10 things that I has accomplished. And I was like, damn, I did a good job. This is great. Like, because I'm really bad at that. I'm really bad at taking the time to acknowledge what's already passed, or what I've done, because I've always been like, oh, done, next, but it was really cool to sit there and go through the board and be like, oh, I did that. I did that. I did that. I'm like, this is really great, so I'm excited to make a new board along with everyone else as well. And share my board and really just show you the physical reality of like, this was the picture that I had and here's what I did today and here's what my goal was and here's how it showed up in my life and the ebbs and flows that go with that too. So anyway, it's going to be really a lot of fun. And it is going to be a master class, not just a workshop. So I think I'm excited that we're going to put a new twist on what vision boarding even means, So get your cacao ready and join us.
Yes, yes. All right, you got anything else?
I reached the end of my cup of cacao. I've reached the end of my thoughts. Thank you guys so much for listening, joining us. Leave us comments, send us love, send me a text. Love you all.
Have a magical day, everyone.